Hi everybody, Lee here, and thank you for watching and or listening to this week's episode of Leading with Lee. I'm super excited because I have a friend of mine here named Evan Dougoud. He is the street outreach specialist for Youth Services of Tulsa. So, Evan, I'm so glad you're here, bro.
What's up, man? Good to be here.
Well, thank you for coming on and having this conversation with me. So, let's talk about you for a second. So, you are a native of Virginia.
Yes.
Grew up, born and raised in Virginia, and so you said you moved around a couple of times and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Virginia, the Hampton Roads area, Virginia Beach area, and then I actually moved to Pennsylvania for college, and now I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma,
which is so random because it seems like how did that story of you getting here? That's interesting. Like, I remember you told me you played ball. Mm-hmm. You hooped throughout high school?
Yeah, in high school
into college. Oh, that's cool. So, how did that process of you growing up in Virginia, playing ball in Pennsylvania, and ending up here? How did that even come about?
Well, growing up, I grew up in Hampton, so it's a really rough area.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know until you left the area, and so
which is a real thing.
Yeah. So after I left, I went to Pennsylvania to play basketball in college, and it was a nice area, like the Scranton area. Mm-hmm. So it was a nice area for me, a new environment. And then looking back, I'm like, wow, I was in a rough environment.
Yeah.
So I went to Pennsylvania for school. I only went there for 2 years.
Okay.
And then after the second year, I was forced to move to Oklahoma. One, because I was just wilding out in Pennsylvania. I was definitely at my purpose, and I was just like in a selfish state of mind. And then my sister called me one day. Was like, "Hey, you need to move to Oklahoma. That's where my dad is." My parents were divorced growing up, so I have never lived with my dad in past like 8 years.
Wow.
You know, and so I wanted to get things right with my dad, and so I was forced to Oklahoma, and what I was forced to actually became a blessing.
Wow.
So,
wow, that's interesting. That like a moment in your life where you were like, okay, this is a broken relationship. You are forced to actually confront that and engage in that. And it seems interesting to me, especially because of what you do every day. Mm-hmm. That you're dealing with people who have broken stories and they need someone to engage and have conversations with. So, you know, how did that lead to you starting to now work for Youth Services? Because I don't think you would just pick that work.
No, I always felt like a tug for that work, but I never knew what specifically where that work was going to land, you know?
Yeah.
And so actually when I went to school for counseling, and
I didn't know that.
And so I wanted to be a counselor. Now looking back, I wish I wouldn't have gone to school for counseling, more so like social work, I would say. And so I just
you can always go back.
Yeah. And that's a goal. That's I do want to go back for sure. After I'm debt free, you know what I'm saying?
Hello,
amen.
Right,
so I do want to go back to school, but it's just like finding this purpose. Like I came here, I was actually a manager at Zoomies, and so funny, I was supposed to get the store, I didn't get the store. I was so mad. I hit somebody up and said I want a job, and I met this lady. She works for Youth Services, and she was like, I feel like you'd be great here.
Wow.
And I was like, let's do it. So I was the youngest to apply.
Wow.
Didn't have a degree.
Wow.
And my work took a chance on me, and it's just been going awesome ever since.
Well, and how long have you been at Youth Services?
So I've been there for a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I felt like it's been longer, and it
does feel like
because I mean you see so much stuff every single day, so I can see how that would be an interesting process of you going through that. And like you said, sometimes a closed door in one space might be the right door that needs to be closed so you can get to the right space where you need to be.
And that door I needed to unlock other doors.
Yeah.
And so I'm very thankful for looking back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's great. So let's talk about your job at Youth Services. Like, what does that all entail for you? Like, what does a day-to-day situation look like for you to some degree?
So Youth Services have different departments. I'm in like the homeless outreach department.
Okay.
And so for me, I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So I help homeless youth who are 16 to 25 years old, who needs housing, counseling, jobs, resources, laundry, a meal for the week, a meal for the day, whatever you need, hygiene, jobs, whatever you need, we have for you. And so right now, because it's COVID, on Tuesdays and Fridays, I'm with the Mental Health Association, do outreach with them, their staff. And so I'm reaching right now like the older people who are homeless.
Wow.
On those days, and then on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm at Youth Services, doing work on site on campus, trying to plan and make sure people got food for the day, or you just somebody to talk to for the day.
I mean that's an awesome thing. I think we really don't. I at least know for me, I really don't understand the seriousness or the complexity of homelessness. And I think in our country we don't really talk about the issue, like just simply somebody having a meal. Like,
I mean even before that, just a conversation of how are you doing. You know, every day they're getting strange looks from people in their cars, like just get a job and things like that. And with that scenario, I understand why people are saying just get a job, but I was doing an application with somebody and it said address, and this person lives at Salvation Army. You know how embarrassing it is to put Salvation Army on your application. And if I was a boss and I saw that, I would probably second guess this person or just stash it away. Or say I found somebody else. And so it's one thing to get a job, but it's another thing to keep the job.
Wow.
There's been times where people, they're like, okay, I have work today, but am I gonna lose my house, my tent? Wow. So I'm gonna not go to work and make sure I have my belongings so I can sleep. It's supposed to rain out. Make sure I have my tent. Nobody steals it. It's hard to get fresh clothes. It's hard to, especially during COVID. Nothing's open. This weekend it's going to be 105 degrees. Their cooling stations in Tulsa, the library is closed. So it is. So it's going to be extremely hard this weekend in Tulsa for people just to survive or just remain sane. So
wow,
it's a huge issue, or I have to call it opportunity. And the numbers have gone up 10% in Tulsa alone from last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we need churches. We need the community. There's too many churches out here for this to be happening.
Right.
And I get that as a churches have different responsibilities.
Yes.
But if we all tackle this one thing.
Yes.
This would change.
Yes.
This would definitely change.
Yes. It's interesting that you bring that up because it takes a concerted effort to get involved in these issues. Not only churches, but I think you posted something, I think a few weeks ago, I remember you posting about somebody, they tweeted this, that like it would take the federal government like 50 or 60 billion dollars just to specifically invest into homelessness. They could literally eradicate it, but we spend money on so much other stuff that don't really matter, and we're not taking care of people. And I was reading this today, and you probably know, you obviously know this, but I was reading this today that like there's 4.2 million young people between the ages of 16 and 25 that is homeless, and then there's 700,000 of them that are unaccompanied and homeless. And it's like,
and that's an estimate.
Yeah, right. Speaking of the fact that
more.
Like, and it is amazing to me how I think we don't really understand the issue. So kind of walk me through just how does those conversations go? So, because that's a lot to deal with somebody when you're talking to them about like their situation. It's not just hey, let me get you a meal. Like their whole lives are being affected by that conversation. So just kind of talk to me about that.
I mean, it's trauma on trauma on trauma. Now let me tell you a story for perspective. When I first started working for Youth Services, I met a 16-year-old girl. She was in the woods. A 16-year-old girl.
Wow.
What grade is that? That's
like they're either a sophomore or junior, depending on where they start when they start school.
So one, she's not getting school. So I found a 16-year-old girl in the woods in a tent, and she has a home, but her home is she was being abused. Her mom's stepdad was like threatening to kill her.
Oh my goodness.
This, sexually abused and all this stuff. So she felt safer being in a tent in the middle of the woods than being at home under a roof. And so this girl couldn't finish school.
Wow.
And now she's doing better, but she's still struggling from trauma. And it's like those stories just kind of get to me.
Yeah.
And so I believe that everyone has a story, and every story has potential to change the world.
Yeah.
And so for me, my heart aches when the community doesn't really they reach out, but not they don't really fully reach out,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I believe that everybody has a purpose.
Yeah.
And everybody's purpose, or your purpose, is for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, for me, nobody's purpose is to be homeless. That's like they're out of their purpose. So
Wow.
by them out of their purpose,
that's
they're
good.
not helping somebody else.
Yeah.
And so there could be future doctors, there could be future lawyers, future you know, YouTube. You know what I'm saying? There's so many opportunities, but they're just hard for them to get past that.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned is their dignity has been stripped.
Yeah.
And I mean, every day you're just going through trauma, the weather, you know, stealing, you know, fearing for your life, people getting stabbed. It is rough.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, just after hearing people's stories over and over, every story is unique.
Yes.
And it's just like, what can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do besides, you know, give you a meal? It's more so a conversation. You know, how can I connect with you? What's your story? How's your day? The focus is on you. The focus is not on me. I'm just here just to be
right.
It's
Right.
called listening sessions. I'm here just to listen.
Yes.
You know, tell me all your problems. I'm
Yes.
here to listen to you. You know, and
Yes.
so I love it.
Yeah, I think that, and that brings up my next question, because it's something that you're doing that I love. Every time you post a video, I post about it because I'm like, yes, I enjoy what you're doing. So like, where did you get the idea for Be Heard? Mm-hmm. And like, how did that even come together of you trying to bring people into the conversation about homelessness?
Right. So it's actually started by a youth who was experiencing homelessness.
Wow.
We were just talking one day at work, and I was like, you have a powerful story. You know, we should tell your story. And she's like, she's down. And then we just start talking. She's like, you know what? Let's do like a little Be Heard movement documentary series.
That's cool.
And this whole year, it was just do a couple of documentaries and then just spread awareness. I never knew it was going to take off this early like this.
Yeah.
You know? And so people are, you know, what can I do? And they're in like Alaska. Like, what can I do to help? And I'm like, wow, you know, you don't even live in Tulsa, but you want to get involved for Tulsa.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, spreading awareness. You know, people are always asking, like, what can they do? A big thing is reposting it, or, you know, just that. And that by reposting it goes a long way.
Evan, like, every time I see you post a video, in my head, I'm like, I'm learning something. Because you know, I think people want to get involved and people want to do something, but they don't know, like, where to start. They don't know, or really fully understand how serious the issue is. Like, I even know in my own life, there have been times where I've gone out of my way to help somebody homeless, or I wanted to help somebody, but I didn't have cash on me, or I felt somebody. I'm like, well, should I go buy something from the store? I only got $20. You know, what can I do? And I think sometimes, even in having a conversation about this, people feel overwhelmed, and they may not know what to do. So beyond just like, you know, reading about it and you know, posting videos and stuff about Be Heard, like, what are some other ways people can get involved with this issue?
So I feel like the DMs I get, people want to do something big. I would say start small.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have no money, which I don't give money anyways, I have chips in the back of my car. You know?
That works.
So that
helps.
It's start small. So it's a conversation. It's how are you doing? Now, that sounds basic. Now, people's response to that who are homeless, they might not even talk back to you, but it's the fact that you made that approach.
Yeah.
So don't get, you know, mad when you don't get the answer you want.
Yeah.
You know, that by you saying, hey, how are you doing today? You all right? That could go a long way, more than just money at the moment, you know? And so I would say start small, you know, keep chips in the backs of your car, you know, or
That's a really good strategy.
and what I've learned is, man, have a handwritten note that's unique. So give them chips in a handwritten note. I mean, that's just
that's a great
that
idea.
shows authenticity, because who writes handwritten notes? It's personal, you know.
Yeah.
So that is you know, that is neat. So whether it's having water bottles in your car or just talking to them, start small.
Yeah. In other words, I mean, that's a great suggestion. I need to be. I need to actually do that now, because I honestly struggle with, like, okay, how do I actually do something? Because I know this is an issue, and for people like me who are always like, we need to fix this, you know, how do I get to a place where I can do something super intentional and be you know, more effective in that? Now, as it relates to this issue, because I mean, you deal with this every day, there are those individuals who get in this work because they want to post it on social media. Who want to, want the likes and stuff like that. Like, speak to how people can understand it's about serving people and not, I'm trying to exploit this moment. Because I feel like there's a lot of that undergirding this issue. Because as we go into the holiday season, when this episode comes, it's going to be close to holiday season. So people are in the giving mood. Yeah. So how do we continue beyond just a moment in the year and it becomes a movement, which Be Heard is definitely a movement.
So I even get that. I feel like if I post this video, are people going to think it's about me? So for me, it all comes down to my intention. Yeah. Am I posting this for me? Or am I posting this to spread awareness? Yeah. And so with that, I have people watch the documentaries when I'm posting about homelessness before I even post it to make sure, hey, is this about me? No, you know me, you know my heart, so it's not. I can post it. Now, there's always gonna be people who are gonna talk about it, which I'm not. That's not my focus. My focus is the people who are over here who are gonna, see it and run with it. So it's just all comes down to intention. Yeah. And really, like, if you're doing it to make yourself shine, then don't even post it. It's more so about them or us than me. Yeah. And so it's just intention.
Well, I think that's really awesome, Evan. And I always have said to you, like, I just love what you do.
Thank you.
I don't do it, but I just love what you do and how you're so intentional with people. I can clearly see that you're so intentional with the people that you meet. Like, every video that I've seen, I'm like, he's out here in these streets, as they say. But you're like out here literally in the woods. Yes, engaging with people and talking to people about this issue. So outside of, so you work specifically with youth, but how has that experience been with older people who you have come in contact with? Because I think a lot of, I was reading something today, and I've seen this a lot lately, that like even a lot of times older homeless people are veterans.
Oh yeah.
They're people who have at one time had a career and something just happened and literally it just eradicated every ounce of savings or whatever they had, and this is where they are. Like, how has those experiences been? Because I've seen you post videos about talking to older people who are living in homelessness.
So my approach with the older, because I have a focus with youth right now, right, it's if I can be so close with the older people, they find the youth before I find them. So
wow.
If I can just just engage, build a relationship with people who are older, they will send me the youth, and the youth will get help. It's right now it's kind of hard to find youth. So I need a different avenue. So it's like, okay, let's engage with the older homeless.
Wow.
And it's been this past month and a half, it's been amazing.
Wow. How do you go about trying to get them involved in conversations? And though your focus is youth, we're finding that like a lot of older people have, if they've been homeless for a long period of time, some of it is because military background, some of it is, which we don't do right by. That's a whole different conversation. I can rant specifically about how we treat people in the military.
You know what's crazy? There was a vet in the woods, no legs, in a wheelchair. How we can't?
Oh my god!
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Jesus,
I don't get it. And that right there like kind of infuriates me. And so it's just, there's a lot of people. I know people who have degrees. There's a lady, her name is Amy. She has an associate's degree. She had a job. She was doing well. She was an RN. It's just family situations, down the drain. And then she's hard to get herself back up, got depressed, maybe was using drugs, But it's like, regardless if it was your fault or not, you deserve to be heard. You deserve, to get help, Yeah. And so, I mean, for me personally right now, I don't think you can fully end homelessness. You can decrease it because there's always that percentage who want to be homeless, like a 5%, But it's focusing on the others as well, and it just kind of really hurts me when you have people, just great people, just in the woods, facing ticks or facing just all sorts of things, heat, the weather, and it's like, I can't really do nothing besides give you conversation. Yeah. And I will. But it's like I wish there was something else I could do.
Yeah, I'm feeling weighty. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the weight of this conversation because this is such a weighty issue. And like I said earlier, Evan, like, I know you pray every morning because you have to. Like, in order for you to go out there and have conversations with older people so you can find the kids that need help that probably could be saved or taken care of or get their needs met, it's a lot. And I think I commend you for your work. And while we're staying kind of in that vein, just what encouragement would you give to people who, even with this issue, they may feel somewhat helpless in the issue? I mean, even though the practical things you're talking about, but sometimes people want to say, okay, what organizations do I need to give money to? What foundations do I need to get involved in? Like, how can I bring this up in conversations with people? Like, what are some ways people can do that?
I mean, there are quite a few organizations, and I mean, like, mine is Youth Services Tulsa.
Definitely give money to them.
For sure. Or you have the Iron Gate, who feeds the homeless downtown. They're pretty awesome. You have the Mental Health Association. They're a pretty big name. You got the Day Center. There's quite a few, you know. I'm working on trying to get Be Heard movement, like a little fund for them. Whatever comes in just goes right to people, you know, who need it, or who need bug spray for the year, you know. So it's just there's quite a few. There's always people taking donations for clothing, food. There's a lot of opportunities. It's just people don't know where. And so hopefully by spreading this awareness, people will ask those questions, and then we'll bring those things to light.
I would agree. I think, you know, going back to what you said about church, we give a lot of money to international missions.
And I'm sorry, but that right there, I see your heart, but it's like, you could, with that money, change this community. If all the churches team up together, I mean, homelessness would definitely decrease. And it's maybe even half. If every church came together and just like, hey, what can we do? How can we be the hands and feet of Jesus? We talk about it, but let's actually do this one issue, then go to the next. You know? And
it's changing, like you said, it's changing the perspective. And I think it's great that you're telling their stories and giving voice to their stories, because I think sometimes our inherent belief is that they did this to themselves. And we never consider, wait, there might be some factors to why this person got to where they are, and it may be just no fault of their own. It just could be literally some mental health factors or other things. And I just think that what you're saying is so encouraging, but also it's challenging for us. How can we move forward and do some work and be involved in this work? So we talking about something heavy. So I'm gonna just shift it a little bit as it relates to that. So particularly Be Heard, like, where do you want to see it go? Because I know you make videos. I know you're creating this content. You're bringing awareness to people. But like, what's the ultimate goal? Do you want to push people into a direction so that they can start getting involved? Like, how do you want to use Be Heard in a more significant way?
It's just mind-blowing that we're having this conversation about that, because I mean, originally we're just going to post one video a month just to spread awareness. And now it's so much like people want to see more. People want to like, how can I help? So it's like, it's a demand. So it's not, I have to post once a week. And I have to be intentional with it. So I mean, this year we're going to continue to post documentaries. We're trying to have some community events. We're going to have a water gun fight with the homeless. That was going to be recorded. There's something different, something unique, you know? The documentaries are cool, but we want to show out like them having fun as well. We're going to like run up to some campsites, take them to the zoo for the day, bring them back.
Wow, that's awesome.
Things like that. But 2021, I think our goal is to make homelessness famous. You know, we all know Kanye because he's, you know, famous. So what if we all knew homelessness? So it's like, let's make homelessness famous next year, and let's really do this thing in the community.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
that's awesome. And putting faces and stories together so that people can understand. Yes,
we overcome.
When we understand people's stories and understand where they come from. So I have two more questions. We kind of talked about this earlier about if there was a song that you might have had. Oh God, I don't even want to know what you're about to say. But if there was a song that like you would use to describe yourself, like what would that song be?
Well, first of all, have you ever watched One Tree Hill?
Yes, I've seen One Tree Hill. Oh my God.
Here we go. I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying to be lately. All I want to do is, yeah. Throw your hands in the air. That was the remix, but
I can't stand you. But wanted to explain why did you pick that song?
I like One Tree Hill.
Okay.
But two, it's like I don't want to be anything other than what I'm trying to be lately. And for me lately, I'm just trying to progress.
Yeah.
Progression of perfection.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to be consistent and intentional.
Yeah. So beyond getting involved in Be Heard movement, because people can connect with you how?
Oh, Instagram.
Yeah.
So right now, Instagram name is Dougoud_5. YouTube channel coming soon.
Let's go.
YouTube channel coming
soon. You have
soon.
1 subscriber.
Hey, let's get it. Woo! Let's get it. So
you already have 1 subscriber. So
I actually met this girl. Her name is Abby. She's gonna help me with getting my videos in order and just like being creative. Okay. So I mean, I can't wait.
Bro, like it's awesome. Yeah. I think, man, I'm super excited for this and super excited for what you're doing. And Evan, dude, it was an honor to get to talk to you about this issue, especially now going into the holiday season and putting this on people's minds that like
that's good.
This is not a moment. This is a movement.
Yes.
And so we have to consistently move beyond just saying, okay, I care about homelessness when I got some extra money during Thanksgiving and Christmas time.
Has to be consistent.
Yes.
We need that many people right now in July, you know? So I feel like everybody helps out during Thanksgiving, which is great, but we need it kind of throughout the year for sure.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, Lee.
Thank you for watching or listening to this week's episode of Leading with Lee. I hope that you were inspired, equipped, and empowered. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe today. And to get updates about all the things that I'm doing, connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lee A. Scott II or Lee A. Scott II. I hope that you will tune in for the next episode of Leading with Lee. Much love, and let's get started.